Alright, so we saw in the video, basically, in looking at the documentation, we can see that the capabilities of airsoft far exceeds that of simunitions. Even based on their own stated claims, we can see that airsoft has got better range, better accuracy capabilities, so on and so forth. If you doubt the integrity of the test, by all means, feel free to do your own tests. I don't have any skin in the game as far as trying to prove this or sell this. This is an examination that we did for our training purposes and wanted to go ahead and just pass it on and make it public. Unfortunately, the stereotype that exists with airsoft, I don't foresee that changing in the culture anytime soon. Airsoft is often viewed as a kid's game and not used as a valid training tool. Unfortunately, that is the public opinion, but that is not the opinion of many contracting firms nor government agencies. In fact, there are airsoft companies out there who have GSA contracts to provide to the CIA, FBI, Homeland Security, numerous intelligence and law enforcement, both federal and state agencies. So understand that the stereotype that exists around airsoft is something that is not grounded in fact or in truth. It is grounded in public opinion and stereotype. So the other purpose for these training type rifles, and this is the rifle that was actually used. This is a KWA LM4. This is a gas powered rifle. It utilizes realistic magazine capacity. The rate of fire is equal to or slightly less than that of a real firearm versus the electric models, which have a tendency to send out unrealistic rates of fire. The form and the function of this weapon is identical in every way, making weapons manipulation drills utilized in training, things like reloads or malfunction drills, transition drills, things like that, making them far more beneficial, because these are things that as we begin to go to the range for live fire, or as we begin to employ live fire tactics and techniques, I don't want my students' minds clouded with the proper way to reload a rifle or the proper way to clear a malfunction. These things need to be non-conscious thought. They need to be conditioned response. So utilizing these training type rifles to instill that into students without having to expend live rounds or take time to go to the range is extremely beneficial. If it takes you 3,000 repetitions for it to become non-conscious thought, that's 3,000 rounds on a range, or that's a bag and a half of airsoft ammo and a $400 investment in a rifle. So it's really your choice. I'm not here to sell anything. I have no skin in the game. This was an examination that we did for our purposes, and I wanted to go ahead and just put it together in a short video and show others what the capabilities were, and kind of dispel some of the hype and some of the myths that go around airsoft versus simunitions. As far as the cost effectiveness, like I said, simunitions are roughly 50 cents a round. I've used both sims and airsoft in legitimate training cycles. In fact, my first exposure to airsoft was with a contracting firm doing force-on-force training, and I had never used them before, never had any exposure, and I had gone into that training with the same stereotypes that much of the public culture has. So in doing so, I saw some usefulness as a combatives instructor. I saw a great deal of usefulness because of both the minimum and the maximum range that exists with munitions that doesn't exist with airsoft. With airsoft, I can actually engage at point blank ranges. Granted, it's going to leave a mark, might even draw a little bit of blood, but with the proper safety equipment, you'll be fine at point blank ranges. With munitions, you're going to end up with substantially more damage because of the weight of the projectile and the velocity that it's traveling at point blank ranges. In fact, the manufacturer calls for a 3-foot standoff distance. We saw from the video the maximum range. I can engage out to 50 yards with an airsoft rifle versus 30 yards with a sim gun, and you still have the same costs involved versus sim versus airsoft. We have a $400 rifle, and then you have the cost of the sim kit to retrofit your existing firearm to fire sims. So when all things are considered, the costs, the initial setup costs are a factor that you need to consider, but the operating costs are where you're going to save. The increased range and the increased usefulness at close in and combatives ranges up to and including contact distance are where the benefits are really going to be with airsoft. As with any training rifle, I don't care whether it's a sim, a paintball, a MIL-SPEC gear, airsoft, it doesn't make any difference. As with any training platform, the proper mindset needs to be engaged in the training evolution, so that we're not turning it into a paintball game or a game of laser tag with MIL-SPEC gear or a BB gun war with airsoft. That's not the purpose. The purpose of these platforms is for training, and they need to be utilized as such in the proper context in order for them to be of any beneficial use. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter what equipment you have. It is just a kid's game. So, wanted to throw that out there. You guys can take from that what you will. Force on force is something that cannot be understated. In every form of combat training, we utilize force on force, whether it be boxing, any form of martial arts, knife training, any sort of edge weapons, things like this. We start off with techniques, we progress, and then we end up utilizing a force-on-force scenario to instill that into a conditioned response into the individual. Firearms is the one thing that we do not do that for safety purposes, and have started to incorporate things like sims and MIL-SPEC gear and paintball as an alternative to that. And it's my belief, and certainly our belief at our firm, that airsoft is really the next generation, and is where force on force is ultimately evolving to. So take from that what you will. Train hard, be hard, and we'll talk to you later. Out.